Welcome to the Paths We Take podcast. I'm your host, Jordan DeSange. Let's hit a path. Hey there, and welcome back to the Paths We Take podcast. Today's guest is someone who lives and breathes performance, discipline, and pushing limits, from helping people level up physically and mentally to sharing his mindset around training, resilience, and self-development. Blake has built a strong presence in the performance and fitness space. Today's episode, we jump all over the place in true Paths We Take fashion. I go a bit everywhere with my questioning, just how I like to. But without further ado, here is my conversation with Blake. All right, let's get into today's sponsor. Most activewear is made to look good standing still, but the Cover House is built for movement. Now, the Cova House is brand new Australian running brand. It is for chasing PBs. It is for training. It is for your first marathon. It is for your first 5K, your first 1K. Whatever it might be, the Cova House is for running. Your gear should move with you, not against you. So the Cova House is built by runners. It is tested by runners, meaning that all of the garments are tested so that runners like it, runners love it, and runners would want to wear it during their training, racing, whatever it might be. Every piece is designed with either lightweight fabrics, super stretchy, unrestricted movement, and just all day comfort in mind. So if you wanted to wear the things all day, you could. There are no distractions, no overcomplicated designs, just performance-driven apparel that actually feels good and looks good to wear too. So visit kova.house, KOVA.HAUS, and you can score yourself some great brand new running gear. They have recently launched. They have a new singlet and a new pair of shorts out currently, with a whole bunch of other things to come over the next 6 months. Thank you to the Cova House for sponsoring today's episode, and I definitely recommend this to anybody listening. Well, thank you, Blake, for coming on the podcast, and welcome, and spending your Sunday with us. Now, there is one question that I ask everybody on the show, and that is, if the listener right now had an autobiography in front of them, and it was your story, basically, maybe give the listener a little insight on some cliff notes that they would find in that story.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, George. My autobiography, I guess, to summarize me, it's I'm only going to live this life once. I want to do everything possible. I rarely take defeat as an answer. Very high standards in chasing a dream. Friends and family mean a lot to me, and I love border collies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. There you go.
Yeah.
Lots to unpack there, which I like and I appreciate. When it comes to your goals, your aspirations, and your dreams, how do you go about that on day to day? Because I think it can be like sometimes too, like it can be a bit daunting as well, like when you are looking at something a bit more on the broader side, like it takes a while for us to reach our dreams and reach our goals and everything. And it can be overwhelming for some, but I think for others, it can be quite motivating. So for you, how do you work through that, and how do you go about things day by day?
So on my phone notepads, I have career goals, personal goals, financial goals listed out. And then I do this reverse funnel thing. So I go, there's my goal. Let's say it's own 3 properties, real broad goal. I go step by step, day by day. It's a 10-year plan. From there, I plan out what I'll do. So I know what I'm doing for each of those goals every day. Okay. But I'm quite detail orientated. Okay. Some people call autistic, but I am very detail orientated.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I guess you kind of need to be like, and I think everybody does it a bit differently, right? Like some people work through, some people like the details. Somebody like me with ADHD, I don't, because things, I might see a detail and be on like task 6 where like, I still need to go through task 1, 2, 3, and 4. But But yeah, no, I find that interesting, like that question, because I think everybody works through a goal a bit differently. For you, do you like to, you were saying that you have hypothetically like a 10-year, do you like to plan that far advance, or what works for you when it comes to goal setting?
Yeah, first of all, you're right. There's no right or wrong way to do things. For me, I do have a 10-year goal, 5-year, 3-year, 2-year, 1-year, and then also little micro goals inside the old noggin and my diary. That day to day get me by. I think every day is an opportunity to learn. Every day is an opportunity to tick something off, and small things I tick off. And that, honestly, some days it's real flat, real low, and it could just be, look, today's goal of earning $100. I can't do it. I'm gassed out. So you know what? Today's goal is now achieve shopping, achieve the laundry. That's enough for today. I'll move today's goal to tomorrow. Something like that. I'm quite adaptable in that way.
You need to be with goals, don't you?
You can't be fixated.
Yeah.
If you miss one day, life's over.
Can be detrimental. No,
it's okay. Move the block. It's fine.
Yeah. No, that's a good point there, because I think too, like if you are so hyper focused sometimes or hyper fixated, then if that goal or something, a hiccup along the way, which I think is natural for things to happen, then it can be detrimental to your goals sometimes. How do you take that into your work and into how you help others basically with their goals? Because I know in your role, that's probably a big part of it, is everybody has goals that you're working towards. How do you take this theory into how you help others?
It's completely different.
Okay.
So for me, it's just do the best. I only accept the best, day by day, long-term goal. For my clients, the sports team I take care of, it's adaptability. Adaptability and consistency will help them achieve their goals, no matter what it is. The tricky part is you have to be flexible and sustainable. So if you're not flexible in if your goal might be lose 5 kilos, the way to reach that, infinite. Doesn't matter. You don't need to fix that and say, I need to run 20 times a week. Do you like running? No. Why are we doing it? Be flexible, be sustainable. Sustainability, because the more frequent you do something, the more effect it will have on you. Flexible, because you're a human, you have a life, a lot of responsibilities. Just relax. It's going to be okay. Whether you do it in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, doesn't matter. That seems to be the thing that people think about the most. It's, I have an end goal. It's like, well, just relax. Whether it's June 1st or June 3rd, doesn't change anything. I have a big event. Okay, you'll have more big events. It's okay. Relax. So you try and do that way.
How do you work through the time? Because I think that can be quite an interesting thing, because I think we all, especially right now, for some reason, we want things yesterday. And, when you have a client and they have, let's say, a goal and it needs to be done ASAP, really, how do you work through that? Because I think that can be quite difficult for somebody to work their mind out of, really, that, it doesn't need to be yesterday, really. It'll take some time. What's your strategies for that?
The go-to is usually one question. So people will say to me, I have a 30th birthday, got to get ready for. Okay, well, here's my question to you. Once that birthday is done, will you stop everything? And if they say, well, no, so what's the point then? One day doesn't matter. You're going to have hundreds of birthdays in your lifetime, people around you, your friends, your family, and your own. Is this one birthday the defining moment in your entire life where you will stop everything good for you? They're usually going to say no if they're real with themselves. So at that point you go, okay, this birthday, maybe you're 40% the way through your goal. The next one you attend, you'll be 80%. And hopefully by yours, the main event of the year, it's fine. It's good to go. So it's just making sure they're aware that, I'm not sure if you've heard of the supplement creatine before. So the creatine has a thing called the loading phase. Okay, cool. Loading phase is great. People say small doses until your body gets acclimated. That's great. Do you plan on just stopping after 2 weeks, do you? Just start having it. You'll be fine. Just start taking it. You don't need to have an end date. Just understand it's a long journey. The rest of your life, where things will change, goals change, the way you exercise will change, the food you eat will change. Just relax. Just chill.
I think it's important too to realize that sometimes things in the beginning are always going to be difficult, but like you were saying, is when you relax, when you work through these things, it eventually becomes habit. Like a question that I guess I get asked all the time, being a long distance runner, how do you run 6 days a week? How do you, do hours on hours each week, this and that? And, for me, the answer is always the same. It's habit, really. Like I've done it all of my life. Waking up 4:30 or whatever to go for a run is just part of my routine. And I think like it took a while to get into that. And, I think back to when I first started running and, competing and everything. I think like I was probably one of the people that like wanted results now, like, and I think too, until you realize that it takes the work until like something becomes habit, and then it's less work really from there, it can make or break things as well. And it just makes things a bit easier to stick in like your routine basically.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. That's the tricky part about all that stuff. It's what is it, 21 days to form a habit? It's real controversial, but I try to avoid people also chasing motivation.
Okay, yeah.
I think motivation is a independent motor for emotion, and emotions go up and down. So therefore your workouts go up and down.
Yeah.
You need to build a habit you can sustain with flexible patterns, but then also aim for discipline. Because discipline, I think, is the bread and butter of flexibility. So if you go, I can only work out 2 times per week, okay, build a habit, 21 days, cool. Rely on your discipline to achieve that, because you've built your discipline on a flexible premise. Motivation, I'm going for a 2-hour run, 10-minute run, 2-hour run, 10-minute run, up and down. But if you said to yourself, I'm being flexible in the way I achieve my goal, which is 3 10-minute runs, I think the discipline of that, they go in hand, if that makes sense. So discipline is more important than motivation. Flexibility underpins both those things.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, I think. Where did this all start for you? So this whole coaching, strength and conditioning for you, what was your journey and your path? How did this all start to where you are now, basically?
Yeah, like most strength and conditioning coaches, we're just failed athletes. So I chased the basketball dream out of high school, moved to Melbourne for a couple of years, chasing the dream, got to about 23, played footy along the way, wasn't going to happen. Okay. I said, okay, well, I can't play sports, I'm uncoordinated, that's great. What can I do? The next best thing for me was helping people. Okay, sweet. Can I combine my love of sports or health and fitness with helping people? Went to uni, did the bachelor's, your master's, all the extra side things for exercise science. And then here we are, just slowly grinding away, helping people. I started doing a lot of in-person coaching for $25 for the hour. I wasn't doing it for money. I was doing it because I loved helping people. And then I went down the online route. I had over 200 online clients, paying a little bit of money each week. Now I'm not much doing in person because I'm doing full-time with a soccer team or football they call it, Adelaide United. So I do their conditioning and sports science, make sure they're fit and fast, alongside a good friend of mine, Sean Baker, who me and him are like broskies. We're good mates, so it's good working with him every day. And yeah, mate, that's where we are now. It's just basically failed athlete turned into research nut, turned into application nut. So,
yeah. Okay. How did that change over the years? So, you're now working with a sports team, really. Yep. You go from working with Gen Pop, really, to, and it sounds like the journey evolved every step of the way, really. How did you get yourself to the next stage? What did that look like for you? What were the steps for someone like you?
So once I decided I'm no longer playing any sport, because I got to 23 with no real formal education, I thought, okay, well, I really got to buckle down and do something. Okay. And at that moment, I decided professional S&C coach. Okay. And I knew it'll take, I said to myself, 7 years. It took 8, which is a bit SHIT, but I knew the path, so I went, that's the end goal. I worked backwards and said, okay, bachelor's, master's, I think called the ASCA, which is a strength and conditioning qualification. Volunteer your time 2 or 3 places at once while doing full-time PT. I knew the goal of where I wanted to be. There's a story I've already told on a separate podcast with Peak Performance. I spoke about how many applications I did across my 8 years. 196 jobs and 33 job interviews. I got to the final stage a few times, and it took to the 196th with Sean and I. So finally got that Adelaide United role, which is cool. We just finished the season on Friday. Got knocked out in the semi-final leg 2, which sucks, but on to the next one. Honestly, I knew the end goal back then. And every step I knew was volunteer, get the experience, finish your bachelor's, get more experience. Now you get paid for the role while doing your master's, get your accreditation for this specific field, and just keep grinding and grinding and grinding until you get there. So,
what's your strategies with overcoming hiccups or bumps along the way?
understand they're part of it. Never. I think people have this negative connotation to bumps in the road. So what can you learn from that? So for me, we won the Sample Premiership at the Sturt. I was the head of performance. So I was like, okay, this is sweet. Won the Premiership. AFL team should start calling.
Yeah.
Well, no one called. I kept applying for jobs. No one really cared.
Yeah.
And I was a bit disheartened because I was like, well, hold on. I poured my soul into this club for 5 years. Can anyone see the work we've done? And yeah, no one cared. And then it took a while after. It goes, yeah, actually, fair enough. No one really cares what you're doing. So I kept applying, kept doing what I was doing, and fortunately enough, United around there was calling, which was sweet. That was a big bump in the road that realising no one cared, and I just realised, well, it's part of it, I guess. Yeah. It builds character. Yeah. You want to build character along the way. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's very important. I think, especially with what was it, 190. 100.
The kilometres?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, so the first one was 55 2 years ago, and the one just gone January was 120.
Yeah.
That was 5Ks every hour for 24 hours.
Yeah, okay.
With a friend of mine called Stefan. Now, I call him Stefan, but just so everyone knows, his name's Stefan. Coach Callie. Yeah. Good man. So we got another one coming up in January. Yeah. That is going to test the character. Okay. Yeah, we're nowhere near trading or ready for it. Yeah. Even the last one, we decided December 10th that we'll do it January 4th, I think it was. Yeah. And then we said, how far should we go? Yeah. Well, let's just do 5Ks every hour. Well, okay, sounds all right. About 2 weeks later, we realised that's 120 kilometres. So we only ran like 4 or 5 times beforehand and then just sent it.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
Yeah.
So how did that all come to be? What was that conversation like? What was the whole process with that?
Yeah, well, it started obviously in 2024, the first one. Stefan and I wanted to do a charity run. I was deeply devoted to the Breakthrough Foundation, a foundation very close to me. Mental health research, mainly for, does different categories, but I look at the mental health research aspect. Does a lot more. So I wanted to do a fundraiser for them, raise some money for them, which is cool. That was 55Ks, not too crazy. And then this year we said, well, we've got to do something different. And last time it was every 5 hours, the 5Ks. So we thought, well, let's make it harder every hour. Yeah. So basically, every 60 minutes, do a 5K loop of peak. So that 5K loop, I can memorize it. I just ran it so many times now. Yeah. And then the new one in January, which is, we don't know the exact date yet, but it'll be the first or second week of January. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. And still for Breakthrough, was it?
Yep. Still Breakthrough.
Yeah.
I've been happy to announce that obviously I've been promoted like an ambassador role through Lisa, who's like the membership, how do you word her role? Like an ambassador lead sponsor program kind of lead role for Lisa. Wonderful lady. There's a few of us now that's an ambassador. Raise money for mental health research. Other aspects as well. But yeah, ready for this new one. It's going for a world record. Yeah. It's going to be tough.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to mentally preparing for something like that, because a lot of it is mental, what does that look like?
Just understanding it's going to be hard. Embracing that. It's going to suck. Yeah. This one is going to be the hardest one to date. I don't really sleep over these things. Yeah. I just understand that for those 24 hours, it's going to hurt. Yeah. Cool. Let's go. I'd rather hurt for 24 hours than not for 6 months, whatever it may be. So I understand the path people have gone down in having severe mental health issues. I should say it's a scale as well, like severely negative or severely positive. It's a scale, and it doesn't matter where you are on that scale. It's all relative to you. Yeah. If I can put myself in a really bad place for 24 hours to show people this is what it's like for people day to day along that scale relatively, and raise some money for it and awareness. I think loosely, I guess I could be a vessel for in promoting some serious awareness for mental health. I think if I leave this world in 60 years, whenever it is, and my name is attached to raising a lot of awareness for mental health research, I've done a pretty good job. And that's kind of about 2, maybe 3 years ago, I realized a 5-year plan was to raise some serious funds for this. So 1 event, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th one might be the biggest one yet. Not sure what that would be yet. But just raising money.
And that's the whole point, I think, is creating that discussion, creating that awareness, because it is still a quote unquote taboo topic, and I think it is getting uncomfortable. So you putting yourself through something uncomfortable is what I think to maybe breaks that barrier a little bit, because people see that, you know, you're getting uncomfortable, so you know, might be a bit easier for them to then have that discussion, really. That's a very cool concept, really, I think, because just like you mentioned too, like if you're struggling 24 hours, like there are people out there that are potentially a lot longer, really, and we just don't know a lot of the times. What does basically day to day for you look like? So it sounds like there's a lot going on in your life right now when it comes to coaching, when it comes to goals and everything. How do you get through it all? How do you manage your time? What does that look like for you?
So this is actually a tricky one to answer, because I want to talk about maybe 2024 and 5, where I was a lot busier. I'm saying a lot busier. It's these days it's easy.
Well, let's get into it then.
It's look. So when I was trying to crack a professional sports contract, the long-term goal, I was doing morning PTs. I was working during the day as like a labourer. I was studying full time. In the afternoon, I would go back to being a PT. Some days, and some days I'd work 2 or 3 sporting jobs. So like Sturt Football Club on the Monday night, and I'd drive to the Newton Jacobs Netball Club, now Norwood Netball Club. So that day I'd start at say 5 a.m, finish around 10 p.m, and I'd do that every day, 6 days a week, for 2 or 3 years, not sleeping. So I do have sleep paralysis and like insomnia, which is pretty cool. So it keeps you awake most of the night, makes it a bit fun. And for 2 or 3 years there, I'm getting 3 to 5 hours of sleep just constantly. Well, I'm also studying, so I want to make sure I'm doing that the right thing. But honestly, these days, I own a company called Bash Performance, which is just my company, where it's, you know, what's sort of retainer fee based sport club. So people pay me a fee. I go to the club and say, this is how you run the health and fitness program. I do workshops. I don't do in-person PT anymore, but if someone asked, I'm sure I could make it work. I do online coaching for Gen Pop. That's Bash. And then I own a company with my best mate called Australian Sports Consultants. So we different consultants around each state, where they assess, consult on every sport. So netball, basketball, football, even golf. That's in every state at the moment, which is pretty cool. And I work for Adelaide United full time. They're just 3 jobs. It's actually really, really easy. 2021 to 2024, that was hard. I used to average like 110 to 120 hour weeks. Now it's like 50, 60.
But that was like the fun time, wasn't it? Like you growing. Think back at that kind of stuff, because similar to like when I first started this podcast, I mean, it was more of a side thing at the beginning, but then creating Radiant Voices Media, and then the running company, and then, you know, I'm a full-time physio, or I was a full-time physio as well. Like similar, I was not sleeping, you know, working until 10 p.m. and being from Vancouver as well, like Vancouver, Canada, where it is a very go culture, really. You know, I remember waking up and going into clinic at 6 o'clock to see clients, and then, you know, finishing maybe 11, doing my other stuff, and then going back from like 4 to 10, because that's just how like physio and stuff worked back then. So, you know, coming to Adelaide the first year, I was like, oh, I kind of like this because I have room to breathe. But then like that was very short lived. But I look back on those days, and I remember being so tired, but it was kind of fun too. Like, I don't want to say that I miss it enough to go back to that kind of stuff.
I enjoyed it. It was great.
It's building the foundation, really.
Builds character.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like that's what people don't realize. Like we're always looking for, again, going back to that quick fix, you know, like when it comes to starting something, when it comes to going to uni or whatnot. I know with physio, like my role now is I I do a lot of like mentoring to students and stuff, and just chatting through with them and, their goals and aspirations. It's great to hear, but it's also kind of like, oh, next year I want to do this, 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 and this. And I'm like, okay, cool. But like, how are you going to get there? Like, it's probably not going to be like that.
Never
and I
is.
think that's what everybody's looking for these days, is to wake up one day and kind of be like an overnight success in a sense, really. And it's hard to kind of like get out of that mindset, really. Yeah.
A lot of people don't, and this is what I tell people when it comes to, so they might see how laxed my life is now, and I tell them this is about 8 years in the making, and it's not that great. I still work 60, 70 hours a week, but that's a lot easier. Cut my hours in half, so it's a lot easier. And when people say, "Oh, it must be nice," well, it is. It was really hard. So it's I think people have gotten used to, on their phone, the entire universe is on their phone. Whatever you want, whenever you want, like that. It can be a recipe for disaster. That's why the go-to thing I'll tell people is start your own business and make it, quit your current job. Don't do this, everyone. Don't do this. But quit your current job, do something you're passionate about, and just start and find a way to make a living out of it. It is hard. It's a lot harder than you think. Bash Performance was the Blake Ashby project, and then it was BAP, and now it's Bash. It's 3 different changes, not because I wanted to change it, it's because I need a new identity to change, because new direction, because of new employee contract, whatever it may be. Sole traded a company. It's start your own business, start your own podcast, make it successful. It's hard.
And stick with it too. This podcast, we were just talking earlier too, it's the sixth year next month, and I think this is now, the Pass We Take has been the new version of it as of January. It was 2 other podcasts prior to that with other networks and stuff, and again, same thing, like new identity, new beginning, new, just evolved really over the years. But I think like a common thing as well is I don't see people sticking, like, again, if things are hard and things are not going their way, it's like, okay, it is easier sometimes to just walk away. But I think too, the hard is what kind of gets you to that next level sometimes. And I think it's very hard to like sit here, and because I know, like, I'm 31 years old, I don't have kids, I don't have a huge family or anything like that, so I completely understand, like, if you have all of these other responsibilities and, you need to walk away and, find something more stable. Like, I totally get that. But I think too, at the same time, like, you kind of need to stick through the hard sometimes to kind of get over it, really. And that resilience is quite important, I think, when it comes to something like that. Yeah.
No, I agree. And I think adversity is very rare these days. Because I think people sometimes confuse when to know to go through adversity and when to give it up. I think people can get confused about, well, give it up time. So, well, that's actually a moment where you could show some real character and get through that. But it comes down to that risk reward. Are you okay with going 10 years of your life and it might not pan out? I was okay with that. I've given up relationships, a lot of family, birthday events, celebrations, because I said to myself, I have to study full time. I have to do this volunteer role, which is 15-minute warm up and then 15 minutes of checking in with players. And because of that, I can't make the event. I chose that is more important than this. Are you okay with that repercussions? And I was okay with it. Took 8 years. It's not that glamorous. It's just, it was a goal. Goal, bang. I'm 32 with no family. I could see now, I'm like, well, was that actually worth it? Stubbornly, I think it was. But now it's good about being so minimal, my hours now. Now I can find a family. Now I can do that stuff. I think it was worth the squeeze in the end. But you have to be okay with that. Because if it didn't work out, which I told myself those 8 years ago, if I get to 200 job applications, I don't get it, I'll move into my other job. I'll go full-time somewhere else. So I only had 4 left. And I was okay with that. So all those, wasted, quote unquote, birthdays, events I missed out on, suck it up. So you have to be okay with the losses as well.
No, I couldn't agree more with that. Let's talk maybe strength and conditioning. So you working on, a professional team, what does that look like? So when it comes to being their coach, would it be?
You can say that.
Yeah. So what exactly is your role for people listening right now?
Yeah, to summarize it, so I tell people I'm just a PT.
Okay.
It's just easier.
Yeah.
But to get more in depth, so I'm the conditioning sports scientist for Adelaide United Football Club. I'll get to the ground at Playford. We have meetings, the physios and the strength and power coach, or the HPM, Sean Baker, and one of the assistant coaches. We go through the day. Who's modified, who's not modified, who needs to rest, who doesn't need to rest, who needs speed, doesn't need speed. From there, we'll go into some sort of prep. So get the muscles warmed up, you can say, get them ready to go. We go on pitch. That's where I do the warm-up. I have a specific adaptation or physiological concept I want to hit. We do that warm-up. They start training with the main coaches, the skill, technical, and tactical coaches. And then we come back into that. We might have gym afterwards. We might not. So basically, my job is to put some GPSs on a player, get them warmed up, make sure they're fit with some sort of conditioning apparatus, make sure they're fast with some sort of speed exposure, and then track it all, and then make a nice little pretty graph so the coaches can see it, and just track their loads every day. My job is to make sure the players aren't breaking down from like the 70th minute onwards, make sure they can reach top speed whenever they need to, like an injury mitigation perspective. Nice and simple. Make them fit and fast. It's just the easiest way to say it.
Yeah. Okay. So for the person listening, like, I think a lot of listeners are behind the scenes athletes as well. When it comes to, and I know this is abroad because I think every athlete, it'll look different when it comes to that space. I know here we get a lot of endurance based athletes tuning in, but when it comes to strength and conditioning, because I think that's also something that is missed sometimes in sport. You know, a lot of people go to their trainings and, you know, their skill stuff or whatever, but they forget about the strength and conditioning. I think it's starting to become less forgotten now, just with health and fitness, I think, exploding over the last few years. But when it comes to an athlete, what are they that hasn't done, strength and conditioning and wants to maybe get a bit more involved with it? Where does it start for someone like that?
As far as like getting fit and fast with an S&C coach, or studying it?
You know,
Like
getting fit and fast, doing it.
Once again, with anything to do with S&C, it's always relative. What's their goal? And then from there, choose the methodology that best suits them. To summarize it in, like, there's three things you just need. I think it's to be strong. To be strong, you need to create force. And then you want to be powerful. We'll create force really fast. And then you just want speed. Move something really fast. That's a lot lighter. Those three concepts are pretty sweet. I think with S&C, people think the exercise determines the outcome. So this is going to be a weird one to say. Your body doesn't know what a squat is. What your body is currently experiencing is lengths of tissue moving, extension, flexion, and that happens to be what we call a squat. So people do a squat, and it's like a 2-rep max. You got 2 reps and you're done, and they think they're becoming powerful. So no. Your body's experiencing a squat that we call a squat. Your tissue is not in the current physiological principles to achieve a power adaptation. So make sure the physiological adaptation you're after, you're achieving the principles you need for that metric. So if it is power and you're close to 90% upwards of your max force development, that's not power. That is max strength. That's max force development. So don't think the exercise determines the outcome. The physiological process defines the outcome. So that was always priority one. If you want to be fast, you wouldn't move slow. If you want to become an endurance-based athlete, doing a 1-rep max bench makes no sense most of the time. So that's the tricky part. Choose the physiological principle outcome. Chase the principle.
All right, you guys. Re-Your-Run is one of my favorite sunglasses brands here in Australia. They sell performance-driven sunglasses that look good, that are super crystal clear, but also have some amazing quality to them as well. It is another Australian-based brand. They are based out of Sydney, and they just sell some great looking sunglasses that can be worn for running, cycling, just walking, whatever it might be. They have something for everybody. Recently, they have just launched a brand new colorway through all of their sunglasses out there on the market. So you can get gold ones, you can get blue ones, they have pink ones. I literally have 3 or 4 different colors now. And I have not been wearing anything else for my runs. What I love about the Rio Run Sunnies is that they adapt to the changes in light that you go through while you're running. So when you're running, it's so annoying needing to always take off your sunglasses because you're going through a shady part and then you're going to the sun and this and that. These sunglasses are built to adapt to the changes of light so that you can just keep them where they are and not need to have to worry about taking them on, putting them off, whatever it might be. Definitely check out Rio Run. You could also use code Jordan10 to save yourself some money as well. So thank you, Ree, for providing that code. And score yourself some great sunnies. Thank you, guys. And I think that can be, like you were saying, the tricky part too, because I think we're living in a fancy world now where, like you were saying, we have access to the entire world and we have access to TikTok, Instagram, and all of these exercises as well. And I think specificity is lacking a lot when it comes to training. I think back to my physio days, and when it comes to injury as well, I think of like, okay, well, could have this been prevented if you were doing the correct things? And a lot of the times it could be, because again, if you're training the incorrect things really, while you have all of these other, like as a marathon runner, this week I pulled 120 something kilometers, and if I'm incorrectly training in the gym, that's just going to lead things, where it shouldn't be. So I think too, it's like, it's very hard for athletes to get specific or to figure out, because I think too, like, there's just access to everything these days, really.
Yeah.
Where do athletes kind of learn it all? So where do athletes kind of go? I know, like, of course we want to be working with people really, but like, if you have an amateur athlete, where's a good starting point for them to go and seek, some fundamentals?
It's such a tricky one, because you're spot on with Instagram and TikToks and your chat GBTs having a lot of answers. But the good answers are unfortunately always start with, it depends. Because that person is going to tell you, or it depends on your situation. And your TikToks and your Instagram can't do that, because they're an influencer of some sort trying to sell to the masses. So I don't like social media for advice, even though my page on Bash Performance has advice. I hate it. If I had a rule, I would get rid of all social media for that. Or like at least legislation where you can't say something without research all the qualifications. That'd be nice. So then you have to rely on them finding someone trustworthy. That's hard. Isn't it? Everyone's trying to sell you something. Even I'm trying to sell stuff. So it's like, you can't trust me fully. You need to ask me what qualifications, where's the research. You should ask me those questions. And I should be very polite and say, here you go. And then hopefully decisions like, I'll go with him. So it's tricky. I think your best bet is always, if you're going through the social media, searching for people, does it look like a scam artist? Is everything about buy mine? Are they using the words like absolutes, yes and no's? Have to, this is it, I have the answers. They're probably scamming you. So avoid them people at all costs. Top 3 things you must do for this exact scenario. So, well, I'm built a bit differently. I do something that's slightly different. So how do you know what I need? Avoid them people. I think a lot of athletes, there's 2 ways to program. One is to give you what you need because you're playing a sport that requires it, or flip that question or that statement on its head. Your training program does what your sport doesn't do. So if you're running all the time, your rate of force development training on just constantly moving the ankle stiffness is pretty sweet. You don't really need plyometrics. If you're running 100 kilometers a week, you can chuck them in, but they're like the 10%. What don't you do? You don't do long eccentrics. You don't do maximal force development. You don't isolate each individual joint in some way. Flexibility, stability, all those kinds of things. So one way to look at it for a lot of athletes is, what is your sport? Basketball. Okay. What don't you do on a basketball court? Because what they'll do, you'll find a lot of athletes which jump hundreds of lateral slides per training session. Yes, in the gym, we'll do more jumps. It's like, why? They're doing that in their sport, in their most, yes, chaotic, but in the purest form they'll do it. And I understand sometimes there's a need for it pre-season, in-season controlled, maybe ankle pogos. I get that. But maybe most people just need a training program that kind of, it does what your sport doesn't do. That's one way to look at it. So unfortunately, it's a tough one to answer because come see me. I'll reply to your DM. Just message me.
But I think too, like you hit key, it's the why are you doing something, right? And I think like as an athlete too, you have every right to ask why. Like I think first of all, like you were saying too, like if you've done the research and you've found a coach that, you think is qualified, that you're happy to work with, then you might have that trust built in already because you've done the behind the scenes work really. But then like I think it's also realizing the why. Like, okay, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and these are the reasons why. Like, I think too, like if you always have that why, then it makes things a bit smoother when it comes to your training as well. I'm an athlete that likes to kind of know what's going on, and my background, I guess I can put two and two together a little bit easier than maybe other athletes really. But I think too, like it is okay to ask, okay, why? And not necessarily question, like you don't want to be, I don't ever want to be that athlete, like, oh, why am I doing this? Or like, like thinking you're knowing better than the coach or something like that. But I think too, like it can help your training if you're understanding what you're doing as well, which is something that a lot of athletes don't do, I think, as well. And then again, physio side of things, like if you get injured, if you don't know why you're doing it, you don't really know what potentially could have gone wrong sometimes along the way as well. When it comes to Gen Pop and them, wanting to, because I think everybody needs to be strong, especially when it comes to like as we age, I think it does have a lot better, it gives us better fundamentals as we age really. When it comes to Gen Pop, what do they need to focus on? Because like you see a lot of the times on, again, social media, everybody should train like an athlete, everybody should do this and that, right? Do you agree with that? Or how should the Gen Pop train? Do they need to train as hard as an athlete?
Well, it depends. Okay. It always depends. Yeah. I think just a blanket term, every 9 billion individual should train like this is just ludicrous to say. I can't wrap my head around that personally. So that's all good. So yeah, it depends what their goals are. Debbie, a mother of 4, just wants to fit in her, I don't know what dress sizes are, but size 22 dress. Why the heck is she doing ankle pogos and sprints? I understand. There's no negative for a human at any age to pogos and sprinting. I understand that. She just wants to be healthy. Pick her kids up, go to the park. Okay, let's just find something that works for her. Debbie, do you like doing weightlifting? Hate it. Okay. Do you like yoga? Love yoga. Do you like the heavy yoga, the strength yoga? Yep, I can do that. Done 3 times a week. Cool. She's happy. That matters more. Her flexibility to sustain that and stay disciplined in that will be a lot higher than you forcing her to do back squats. So just do what helps them. Your job isn't to show how good you are at one programming or one thing. It's to help them. What helps them.
And what they like you were saying too.
Yeah, they won't do it otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate eating vegetables, so if we've got to do it. If no one watching me, I wouldn't eat them.
And I think too, like it comes back to that habit too. Like things aren't going to become a habit if they really, really hate something. Like you don't want to do something every day, even if it becomes a habit. Even when you hate it, really. So I think you have to like something enough to want to at least put the beginning work into it as well. Let's go to maybe like, your everyday individual. They're back to social media, really. They're scrolling through Instagram or TikTok or whatnot, and they're looking into because I think you hit something key as well when it comes to looking into a coach, asking questions and asking about qualifications and things like that. I think I've met some amazing people that don't have all of these long lists of qualifications. I've also met people that have these long lists and aren't necessarily built for that side of things, being a good coach or whatnot. But what do you think makes a good coach?
personability, seeking the truth, and connection. So I have a good friend of mine, Stefan, or Stefan, people call him. He's currently in his exercise science bachelor. So he's not what you'd say qualified, but fantastic coach. Really personable, really good connection. I don't think you need all the qualifications in the world to be a great coach. I know people with double masters, and they are terrible coaches.
I agree. Yeah.
So it's a catch-22. So you can't just rely on the education. But if you are on social media looking for a coach, what's qualification? Step one. I have a master's. Okay, that's pretty good. Number two, where do you align with individuality and program setting? Oh, I don't really care. Like, it depends. Tick. How do you talk to me if I have a really bad day? Well, I don't care. Just get it done. Doesn't align with me. Cross. 2 out of 3, not enough. Next coach. So it just depends. Sometimes the third question is, how do you align with me if I have a bad day, I don't want to train? Oh, look, it's okay. Like, we'll get through it. We'll change it tomorrow. Oh, perfect. Okay. But some people need to be smacked across the back of the head, and they want that. So tick for them. Education isn't everything, but I do think grinding it out for a 3 or 4 year degree shows a lot of character. And if you have a bit of character, you're more than likely going to be okay. But yeah, I know some terrible coaches that have all the qualifications. They currently work in pro sports, but it's just, sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah. So. I love like the whole personability, because I think too, at the end of the day, people will come to see you for you, like I think I agree with that, because again, when I am talking with the students that I work with as well, like I find, fair enough, a lot of the students are very in their head. They're very textbook. They're very, I need to do what the textbook is telling me. But, it's almost robotic in a sense. And one thing that I try and make apparent is like, yeah, you're doing great. Like, you need to hit the steps that you need to take, really. But at the end of the day, you have to remember, like, people, when you are out in the real world, are going to come back to see you for you, really. Like, some people don't care. Like, I personally, when I go to see my physio or when I work with my coach or whatever, like, yeah, I like to know what's going on, but at the same time, sometimes I just like to be put on the table and like, fix my ankle or whatever. Like, I don't really care at the end of the day. Where some people want to know, like, and that's where adaptability comes into play. Like, you have to know what your athlete or, what the person that you're working with is like. My coach came on recently and he was saying something similar. Like, when you're talking about pacing an event, for example, like for me, he tells me, okay, this is your speed limit. You have to, you can't go any quicker than this for X amount, and then you can go up and down. But like some people like analogies or whatever, and that kind of goes over my head. So you have to be adaptable because everybody works a bit differently, really.
Yeah.
How do you think these soft skills are learnt?
Exposure.
Okay.
Exposure and feedback. So if you get straight into the gym, week 1 of the gym, I remember my first week, it was an Anytime Fitness, and it was just go in there, start talking to as many people as possible. Some people don't want to be spoken to, and you learn really quickly who they are, and you go, okay, so that kind of behavior would mean more than likely, because you never know, don't approach them. And then other way around, this person really wants to be spoken to. Now, there's people at the Peak Performance Centre where I don't actually work there. I used to. I just go out after United. I go there and work on my online stuff. And Sean owns it, so he allows me to sit in the cafe and chill out. But there are members there. You just know. Don't go speak to them. They're in their own head. They're here to work out and they leave. There's a guy. Now I don't know him personally that well, but they did a recent episode on him. Skip. He's 70 odd, and he comes in almost every day. And he is the most talkative human being in the world. Okay. So you should know to go talk to him. Now, I personally have only spoken a few times about basketball, but I did see that video they posted, and I thought, wow, that pretty much sums it up. You got to know when to talk, when not to talk, when to go. You actually need a break from this place. You're just getting a little bit addicted. So yeah, I think those soft skills is exposure and awareness of when you were right, when you were wrong, where you can improve on. You can't just presume you know it post-uni. Once you're in uni, year 1, it's already too late. Hop in the gym. Can you just be the admin person? Can you sell things? And you start exposing yourself to those situations. Yeah.
When it comes to this path, so this path that you've taken to get to, the current team that you're working with, you were saying that, close to 200 applications, really. what was that process like for you when it comes to getting, rejection and going through the next stage again and again and again? Like, was everything like, again, it's not like you've discussed how you get over hiccups and bumps and everything like that, but what was that like for you? Like, were you right away on to the next, or how did that exactly go?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So we'll just round it up, say 200. The first 50 while I was studying my bachelor's, the double, I was sitting there going, okay, well, at this level, I think this is all that lack of awareness, but I think I'm ready for like a sample job.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah,
So I was an assistant. So those first 50, I'm trying to get a gauge on where I am. The next 50, I was like, okay, well, I've got them sorted, got the bachelor's sorted, sweet. I'm definitely ready for a sample role now. Kept applying. So it was small steps of 50, you could say, that I started to realize how far off the mark I actually was from a professional job. But in terms of getting over the hump, it was just every single time something hard pops into your life, something even just trivial like not getting a job, was builds character. On to the next. Yeah. So the one thing I talked to a couple of players at United, one guy, he's a centre back, young fella. I tell him the same two words whenever a stuff up occurs. I say next one. That moment in your life has now passed. You will never experience that moment again. Something similar might pop up. Yeah. Same defender, same going left, going right, but that moment has passed. Yeah. Next one. Yeah. So when I receive a breakup, when I receive tragic news, I do have a unique way of processing it. Next one. Now, on the scale of bad news, that next one is a bit harder to say. It takes a bit longer to process. Yeah. But the same two words always pop up. Next one. I can't dwell in the moment too long. Yeah. I'm very much a next. Yeah. Next. So that's my biggest. People call them red flags these days. I don't process that well. I just go, cool, next, sweet. Over time, I process my diary and stuff like that. I write things down, but I don't wait 2 or 3 days of wallowing. I go next one, and then late at night in my diary, every single night I write my diary. It's always on me in the car right now. It's always on me, and next one. Yeah.
I think, again, we all process things differently.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to do what works for you. And you have to, I think, find that process, because a lot of people too don't find that process. And then that's where I think dwelling gets in the way, or opposite. If you are, next one, but you still don't take the time to journal or process, then I think that can also make things a bit harder for reflecting on, okay, how do you get to the next one, or how do you make the next one successful, Yeah. And I think I liked you mentioning the journaling. Really, that's going to come up. How do you process things? But because again, I think that's what a lot of people forget. And it's a very common thing that's come up is, okay, don't dwell and, move on to the next one. A lot of high achievers and performers that have been on the show have said something similar. But I think too, what is missed often is, okay, well, whether it be a week from now, a month from now, or whatever, how do you actually process things really? Because you kind of need to get to the next one somehow. So on top of journaling, how do you focus on you? We have self-help these days. That's a huge topic alone, but how do you focus on you and, move yourself forwards really?
Yeah. So for me, and that stage of next one and the process, for me, there's probably 3 things I do: the gym, reading, and journaling. Okay. They're just for me. Yeah. If I don't do those 3 things over, let's say, 2 weeks, the mental health does spiral. It just down it goes. Yeah. So in a really weird way, this is where that detail-oriented thing comes in, or people call me autistic. They kind of say, I kind of use the words productive hours or non-productive hours. Yeah. So if I got a job, I've got a job email came through. You didn't get the job, 3 p.m. Okay, well, I'm currently on productive hours. It's 9 till 5. Things are open. I can get things done. Not the time to process. Next one. But 10 p.m. at night, I'm ready to go to bed. Finish my reading. So that's 1 thing ticked off. Cool, reading out the way. Journaling, cool. Number 2 ticked off. That's my non-productive hours. Okay. You can't do anything at 10 p.m. at night. So you can send emails, but you should done beforehand. So I guess after hours is non-productive, so I can worry about myself there and go, let's dwell on it, let's process it. Let's figure out the next step. But in those productive hours, I wouldn't even think twice about it. Next one. And then, to be fair, in the productive hours of 9 to 5, sometimes you're in the gym. More often than not, I gym in the morning, but sometimes you're in the day. But yeah, I kind of break it down to a productive hours, which is career, work, finances, priorities of external things that I can't control after 9 to 5 because they're shut. And then there's kind of my non-productive hours, which is for me, writing, reading, and the gym. Yeah.
Okay. Are those your non-negotiables, or do you have any other non-negotiables that you have to do throughout your day?
They're my non-negotiables.
Okay.
I this is a little psychotic, but I listen to nothing in the car.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So
like every journey?
Everywhere. The only time I put music on is if I know someone's coming in the car.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll go click.
Yeah.
I go, that way no one thinks I'm weird. So,
yeah. What's the reasoning for that?
Staying within my own thoughts and keeping a nice, cool, calm head. Because the old noggin up there is like a beehive 24/7. So it doesn't turn off.
Yeah.
So having a very engaged conversation right now.
Yeah.
I'm also now thinking about 36 different programs I have to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll also think about my zero I need to fix. And not because I'm stressed or chaotic. It's just this is what it does. It doesn't stop. So for me, being in silence just really helps.
Yeah.
I wear earphones in the gym. There's nothing playing on them.
Okay.
Just like it's a real, I'm in my own head.
Yeah.
Let me just process things.
Are you a chatter in the gym, or are you put your head down and do the work?
Depends on the day.
Okay.
I would say more often than not, I just kind of, if you watch me gym, yes, I can lift some weights.
Yeah.
It's more a case of I'm very just laxed.
Okay.
The actual strength side of training, I don't enjoy. Yeah, I just get it done because it's the only thing that ticks a lot of boxes off for health, mental health, so physical health, mental health. But from a actual enjoyment perspective, it's a real low.
Yeah, okay.
So it's just to get it done.
Yeah.
So usually I walk in, get it done, cool. On to the next one. Do enough to get a stimulus. That's about it. 20 sets, done. But yeah, honestly, it's just those three things. I love reading. I like writing. Yeah. I've had like 20, 25 journals.
Okay.
Still stacked on my bed just from about 10 years worth of journaling.
Yeah. Genre? What's your reading genre?
My reading genre, at the moment, philosophy, real stoicism kind of guy at the moment. That's been pretty cool.
Favorite book?
Favorite book, 48 Laws of Power. I'm going to have to say stoicism. Okay. Just the book itself. There's the 48 Laws of Power, which is pretty interesting. Learning to be Disliked is pretty cool. Okay. Controversial, but I didn't mind Jordan Peterson's book, just because I think his psychology side is pretty interesting. Yeah. His political views and diet views are pretty weird, but each their own, as always. What else is there? I'm reading a book right now. Okay. That is from Stephen Hawking, from Neil deGrasse Tyson, Letters to an Astrophysicist. That's interesting. I like physics, cosmology. That's quite interesting. I'm reading those 2 or 3 books at the moment.
How often would you get through a book?
Slow reader. Okay. So I only get through about 15 books a year. Okay. So 1 book a month. Yeah. But I've tried from about 2 months ago. I'm trying to do 2, like one alternate. But I only read half an hour every night. That's it. That's all. That's all I can care for. Yeah. It helps me get tired as well, so I don't sleep very well. Yeah. So that's one thing that helps. Journaling definitely helps. But yeah, reading's pretty cool. Yeah. No, there's lots. Books are coming back too. So that's a good thing, I think. When it comes to your fitness routine, how often are you getting yourself to the gym or moving or whatever it might be? I would hit the strength side of things 5 times a week and about 3 conditioning variations. So I mean, the week just gone, I did 5 strength, a boxing session, off leg session, and my first run yesterday. So finally, since the January charity run, my knee's finally been able to actually run now, which is just ridiculous. So I've only got 6 months to actually prepare for this next one. But yeah, I would say if I just said 4 to 7 sessions a week, and that varies what it is. But
Okay. And work, how often are you working?
Working, once again, real cruisy these days. So it's 5 to 6 times a week. With United, it's 7:30 till 2. Bash performance varies from 15 to 25 hours. ASC, Tommy's taking a lot of the credit at the moment. That's my roommate, best mate. He's doing a lot of the grind at the moment, but chip in there. And honestly, I chip in sometimes with Sturt Football Club still. Yeah. So Stefan is currently the head of S&C out there. Okay. So I help him out, oversee that. Him and Rachel is the women's S&C. So honestly, not much.
Yeah.
It's not much. It covers 60 hours.
Yeah.
No, it's not much. So I am probably looking to do something else now. Just to keep something busy, you know?
Yeah.
It's too quiet.
To the person listening that, you know, is because I think too, it's very common to hear, oh, well, how do you keep balance, you know, with personal life, with just balance with everything really. When it comes to balance for you, what does that look like? And how do you balance it all really?
It's actually a good question because I'm actually about 3 or 4 weeks in now of just really trying to change that mindset for myself. Yeah. So up until this United contract, work was always a priority. And I used to have I love whiteboards. I have like 5 whiteboards at home. Okay. On the whiteboard, I used to have a priorities list. This was when I was dating someone long term. And it had on there work, number 1, study, number 2, my dog, number 3, number 4 was her name. Yeah. Every day I should see that. That was a terrible idea. Yeah. But I have a list of priorities in my head that I know I need to prioritize. I got the United job, long-term goal ticked off, sweet. So now I'm looking towards, well, work's number 3 now. I've built some things, which is nice, keeps me steady, which is all great. So now I'm looking towards the family, dating, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I think I'm trying to find the balance of don't move work around for an individual, but accept that maybe going out to a volunteer role is not beating meeting someone. Whereas just 2-3 years ago, volunteering my time at a random Div 4 football club would beat my partner. Yeah. Could be a birthday. I'd be like, nah, this is more important. Yeah. Where now it's, okay, finding a partner is pretty more important now. So that's probably where I'm at. It's knowing when to prioritize somebody, but not removing your entire identity, which it shouldn't just be at work, but is a massive part of it.
How do you think this shift came to be?
Just achieving the goal, I think. Okay. I think it was just done.
Yeah.
All right, done that. To be fair, though, I finished that goal, and the next thing was what's next, which sucks. But I did that, and then basically from that moment, I have thought family. There is one goal I might do in the future. I did so with this 200 job applications. I knew it was coming. The fallback for me was medicine, so I wanted to get to medicine, study for that. Yeah. So that year, I went to do the GAMSAT test in January. Got the results. I did enough to get in. So I got into Flinders and Wollongong. Sweet. Now, luckily for me, the United came around. I got the job offer. I was like, okay, I'm doing that. Yeah. I might go back and do that. It hasn't really come to me in a dream yet and say, go do that. But maybe. But with the prioritizing private life and stuff like that, I still haven't found a partner. Well, I still haven't found someone that's willing to kind of do that. It's a tricky part. It's a tricky one. Yeah. I thought I did. Yeah. It didn't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think like it's important to remember that priorities shift as well, right? Yeah. Like I think one thing that's come up as well, and I think it's depends on the stage that you are at, because I've had people, again, high achievers, you know, highly successful people that have been on the podcast, but might be still at different stages and would tell me like, no, business is still number 1, right? And I think too, like everybody's at a different path, a different journey, and it's really, once you hit a goal, it's always is what's next, really. And sometimes it doesn't need to be, oh, another business, or it doesn't need to be, you know, something that along the lines. It could be, oh, well, maybe now number 2 is what's next, really, on that priority list. So yeah, I think it's important to remember too that like the priority list can change, because we're at different paths every couple of months, really. I think when it comes to the person listening, so the person listening right now, out of everything you've discussed today, out of anything else that's on your mind, what is one thing that you want to leave them with?
When you are chasing a goal, understand there's going to be ebbs and flows along the journey. Understand it's going to take time, be okay if you don't get there. You've still become a better person because of it. Yeah, no, that's for every aspect of your life.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the podcast, Blake.
No worries.
Thanks for sharing. Thank you for coming on and spending the time with us today.
No, appreciate it, mate. That was good fun.